Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. हरे कृष्णा डियर डिवोटीज, आप सबका स्वागत है, आप सबका अभिनंदन है इस श्रीमद् भागवतम क्लास में. टुडे विल बी स्टडीइंग श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 3 चैप्टर 18, द बैटल बिटवीन लॉर्ड बोर एंड द डीमन हिरण्याक्ष. हरे कृष्णा. प्लीज जॉइन अस फॉर जय राधा माधव प्रेयर्स. हरे कृष्णा.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज निरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज निरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी, यशोदानंदन Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Yashodanandana Prajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Prajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari.
हरे कृष्णा डियर डिवोटीज, आप सबका स्वागत है, आप सबका अभिनंदन है। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा डियर व्यूअर्स, सभी को बहुत बहुत प्रणाम। आप सबका स्वागत है आज की श्रीमद् भागवतम क्लास में। हिज ग्रेस जीव तत्व प्रभु जी श्रीमद् भागवतम पर हमें क्लासेस देते हैं, जिसमें वो चैप्टर लेवल पे पूरा एसेंस हमें प्रेजेंट करते हैं, पूरे चैप्टर के लेसन्स। हर चैप्टर में बहुत सारी वर्सेस होती हैं, बहुत सारे डीप पर्पट्स हैं, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की टीचिंग्स हैं। उन सभी का सार निकाल के मेन मैसेज, ताकि हमारी कंटिन्यूटी रहे। ये जो श्रीमद् भागवतम में नरेशन चल रहा है, सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी बता रहे हैं भगवत कथा महाराज परीक्षित को। खासकर जो न्यू व्यूवर्स हैं, आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए हम बता दें कि आपके जो क्वेश्चंस हैं आप कृपया एंड पर जरूर लिखें, क्योंकि बीच में अगर आप अपने क्वेश्चंस टाइप करेंगे तो वो मिस हो जाएंगे। प्लीज़, यू आर वेलकम टू राइट योर ग्रीटिंग्स। और उसके अलावा टाइम टू टाइम प्रभु जी आपसे कुछ रिफ्लेक्ट करने के लिए कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन, कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं। यू आर फ्री टू रेस्पॉन्ड टू दैट। अनन्याधर जी, हरे कृष्णा। कुलदीप चौहान जी, ये हैं बासी कीरतपुर से, वेलकम टू भागवतम क्लास। एंड वी हैव निधि गुप्ता, हरे कृष्णा। अविशेष राज जी, हरे कृष्णा। कॉम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं अविशेष जी, ही लव्स योर टीका यानी तिलक। डिवोटीज पुट ऑन तिलक बिकॉज वो भगवान को बहुत प्लीजिंग होता है और डिवोटीज को भी। हरे कृष्णा नीरू जी, और हैं बहुत सारे व्यूअर्स। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन है। आपके नाम स्क्रॉल कर गए हैं, सो आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्पीक योर नेम्स, लेकिन वेलकम। सो प्रभु जी, प्लीज गो अहेड विद द भागवतम क्लास।
Hare Krishna, please join us for Mangalacharan prayers. We'll sing them together.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रोतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः, हृदयन्तस्तो हि भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवतीरुत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Hare Krishna, please join us in the recitation of the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 18, the battle between Lord Boar and the demon Hiraṇyākṣa.
प्रभु जी, 1 minute, let me put on the microphone. And dear viewers, आपकी सहूलियत के लिए, आपकी रेफरेंस के लिए हम आपके साथ शेयर करते जा रहे हैं कमेंट्स में जो प्रभु जी ने मंगलाचरण प्रेयर्स बोली हैं और जो अब रिसाइट करने जा रहे हैं। कैंटो 3 चैप्टर 18, की पहली वर्स उसको हम रिसाइट करेंगे और प्रभु जी उसका ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ेंगे और उसके साथ में फिर क्लास स्टार्ट हो जाएगी।
हरे कृष्णा। वर्स 1। मैत्रेय उवाच तदेवमाकर्ण्य जलेश भाषितं महामनस्तद्विगणय्य दुर्मदः हरेर्विदित्वा गतिमङ्गनारदाद्रसातलं निर्विविशेत् त्वरान्वितः। Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya continued, the proud and falsely glorious Daitya paid little heed to the words of Varuna. O great Vidur, he learned from Narad the whereabouts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and hurriedly betook himself to the depths of the ocean. This is a very short purport. Materialistic warmongers are not even afraid to fight with their mightiest enemy, the personality of Godhead. The demon was very encouraged to learn from Varun that there was one fighter who could actually combat him, and he was very enthusiastic to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead just to give him a fight, even though it was predicted by Varun that by fighting with Vishnu, he would become prey for dogs, jackals and vultures. Since demonic persons are less intelligent, they dare to fight with Vishnu, who is known as Ajita, or one who has never been conquered. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Guru Pranati. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. तो इस चैप्टर में हमको पता लगता है कि क्या demonic propensities हैं. What are the character traits of a demonic person, or even demonic propensities, or how can we overcome these character traits, these characteristics, these presence जो हमारे इस कलियुग में these are both qualities are present in each person. There is some demonic propensities which is because how does it come? Because when a person thinks I am this body, right? So that is the influence of false ego. In the influence of false ego जो होता है, false ego के influence में एक व्यक्ति सोचता है, again can be man or woman, सोचता है कि I am this body, so now he is engaged in pleasing the body, right? Thinking that I am this body is me. Basically, he does not know, or she does not know, one does not know कि जो हमारा अस्तित्व है, we actually are living entities, Jiva. We are all Jiva Tattvas, living entities. So we have divine qualities as when we realize that we are living entities, we are Atma, and we are always supposed to be engaged in pleasing Paramatma, right? Bhagwan Krishna, he is residing in our heart as super soul, as Paramatma. So ऐसे में it is very important to understand, right, the battle between Lord Boar and the demon Hiraṇyākṣa, because we are constantly going through this battle internally as well. And today we will be looking at what are these characteristics, ऐसा क्या है signs जिससे हम अपने अंदर के जो आसुरी भाव है, जो डिमोनिक प्रोपेंसिटीज है, उसको कर्ब्स कर सकें, हम अपने डिवाइन क्वालिटीज़ को अवेकन कर सकें, स्ट्रॉन्ग बना सकें. और why? Because it is for our benefit. Because demonic qualities में जो भी रहता है, just like we see Hiraṇyākṣa यहाँ पे, तो Hiraṇyākṣa is constantly meditating on, his rival that he wants to fight with. Or he is very unhappy internally because he is looking for name, fame and glories. Previous chapter में हमने क्या पढ़ा? That he wins over all directions. And he even goes to Vibhavaripuri, which is the residence of Varuna Dev, the demigod of the oceans. So he is the lord of the oceans and water bodies. And वहाँ पे जाके he presented, first he glorified that, my dear Lord, you are such a wonderful personality, you have defeated many दैत्यस. आपने बहुत सारे दानवों को, दैत्यस को, दैत्य जब भी सुनते तो हमें समझना चाहिए दैत्य means the descendants of Diti, right? Adityas means the descendants of Aditi. These two are sisters. They are both married to Kashyapa Muni. And जब हम राक्षस बोलते हैं तो राक्षस जो होते हैं वो उनका मीनिंग जैसे शास्त्र में दिया हुआ है, those who drink the blood of a human being, or those who hurt human beings, basically those who torments, that is like drinking blood. So acharyas explain that राक्षस हैं, दानव जो होते हैं वो बहुत ही विशालकाय personalities होते हैं, and they are very proud of their strength. They are not very intelligent, but they are very proud of their strength, but they don't realize that strength is not the measure of intelligence. And in this material world, पिछले चैप्टर में जो आचार्यों ने बहुत क्लियरली समझाया है हम लोगों को कि जो लिविंग एंटिटीज, हम लोग कभी कभी लिविंग एंटिटीज इंडिविजुअल्स को ही समझते हैं, बट अ ग्रुप इज ऑल्सो अ लिविंग एंटिटी, राइट? व्हेन मेनी पीपल कम टुगेदर दे फॉर्म अ ग्रुप दैट ऑल्सो क्रिएट्स एन एंटिटी, राइट? संघा. दैट्स व्हाई संघा इज very important, because a group which is misled by some politician या कोई someone's mean purpose के लिए they prepare a gang, right? That's why the word gang comes in, right? So that kind of association is very dangerous, because they can, if they are driven by the senses, by sense gratification, thinking we are this body and they want to enjoy in this material world. So अपने आप को इस भौतिक जगत में, इस material world में, they want to have sense gratification, they want to be driven by name, form, activities, pastimes. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Right. So बहुत सारे ऐसे demons देखे हैं, जैसे रावण था, he wanted to enjoy Lakshmi ji, right? Sita Mata. He abducted her so that he can enjoy. When Lord Ramchandra, he was ready to fight with Lord Ramchandra, not knowing कि जो Lord Ramchandra हैं वो हैं Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Ramchandra destroyed him. So even though he was a very powerful king, right? Even though he was a very intelligent, he was very much endowed with the knowledge of the Shastras, but he misused his intelligence for his personal purpose. तो जब भी हम शास्त्र का अपने पर्पस यानी सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन के लिए यूज करते हैं, that becomes the cause of our destruction. So that is supposed to be very important. और कौन कौन से demons हैं? Who are some of the demons? We can think of who, जो कि कभी कभी बहुत ताकतवर थे, कभी बहुत rich थे, कभी बहुत intelligent थे, कभी sometimes even they were like even sometimes appearing as renunciates, कि भाई सब कुछ renounce कर दिया है, but actually they fell down from the positions. ऐसे कौन कौन से? Please write, any of those personalities you can think of. Write in the comments, please. And so here, this conversation is, in the very first verse is between Maitreya Muni and Vidurji, Mahatma Vidur. Now we also have to understand Maitreya Muni, a descendant of Mitra, one of the Adityas, and who's the audience? Who's the disciple? His disciple is Mahatma Vidur, who is none other than a Mahajana, Yamraj, appearing as a Dasi Putra, being cursed by Mandavya Muni or Munduka Muni. So both names are for the same personality. And so, a Mahajana is hearing from an Aditya's, a descendant of Mitra. So here they are discussing this conversation, this fight. And when this occurs, sometimes people ask, ये जो fight है between Lord Boar and the demon Hiraṇyākṣa, Lord Varaha थे, और जो हिरण्याक्ष के बीच में ये जो युद्ध है ये कब हुआ? So he Chakshusha Manu ke time pe hua. So again, in the beginning of this day of Brahma, it was Swayambhuva Manu. Then came Chakshusha Manu. So it was during Chakshusha Manu's time जब ये हिरण्याक्ष and हिरण्यकश्यप appear किया. Hare Krishna. And इसमें बहुत ही important aspect ये भी है कि Varun, Lord Varun, who is another one of the Adityas, he had already warned Hiraṇyākṣa that if you first of all he said that, why do you want to fight with me? I have desisted. मैं अब युद्ध नहीं करता हूँ. वो आप बूढ़ा हो गया हूँ. I am an old man now. So, I have desisted from fighting. So now, this way he discourages Hiraṇyākṣa that, Hiraṇyākṣa is his full youth. And a young person is fighting with an old man, there's not much glory. So Hiraṇyākṣa is okay. Means, if he's saying he's an old man, and if I win him over, people will say a young man just fought with an old man. Ek bude aadmi ko hara diya. What's the glory in there? That's actually, that's in the opposite direction. That's defaming yourself. Agar aisa karte hai to. But then Varunji says there is one fighter, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you'll fight with him, then you will meet your death and your body will be eaten by dogs and vultures. So again, yes, there is one warrior who is so glorious. So he decides to fight with Lord Vishnu. And so he's constantly meditating. So Maitreya Muni is telling Vidurji. And this narration between Maitreya Muni and Vidurji has been recited at Naimisharanya by Sutta Goswami in the assembly of sages. And their spokesperson is Shaunaka Rishi. And Sutta Goswami had heard this narration previously from Shukdev Goswami, who was reciting to Parikshit Maharaj, and Parikshit Maharaj is fasting for 7 days until death. So he is waiting for his death, and he attains perfection just by hearing SRIMADBHAGAVATAM from Shukdev Goswami. And we are all reading SRIMADBHAGAVATAM. So SRIMADBHAGAVATAM itself is sufficient to grant us liberation, to grant us transcendental bliss, to grant us salvation, to awaken our true Kṛṣṇa consciousness, to awaken our true nature, Jivera Swarupoya Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. So anytime when we act, if we are thinking I am this body and act with that mindset, it is demoniac. And every time we act to please Lord Shri Krishna, understanding कि हम जो हैं भगवान के eternal servant हैं, हमें भगवान को प्लीज करना है, भगवान कृष्ण को प्लीज करने के लिए हम जो भी एक्ट करते हैं, that is divine, right? So divine versus demoniac characteristics are present in every being in this material world, especially at this time, in the times of Kali Yuga. And now His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, he gives a very nice example. He says, if you have a good dog and a bad dog, who will win? Right? So if you know the answer, please write in the comments. If you have a good dog and if you have a bad dog and both of them fight, which dog will win? His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, he says, the one you feed the most. That's the answer. कि हम जिसके ऊपर मेडिटेट करते हैं, हम जिसका ख्याल रखते हैं, वो strong हो जाता है. So again, these two natures are there, divine nature and demoniac nature. Now, if we act in the divine, of course, we are strengthening our divine qualities, so the demoniac qualities, they go away. Now, one of the very simple ways you can, encourage yourself to, endure yourself with divine qualities is with sadhu sangha, of course. When you are in the association. So again, we are talking about, people create the sangha, association. And the influence of association is very strong. If you want to become an army man, you join the army, and everyone in the army is dressed in a specific way, thinks in a specific way, acts in a specific way, because their focus is, to be able to perform their duties in that particular mindset. Now, if you want to, you won't be an army man and joining, Air Force guys, because they think differently. Their skills are different, and their, tactics, their strategies are different. So that won't be a good mix. And similarly, if you want to go on mountaineering, you won't join a bicyclist group, because mountaineering is a different kind of endeavor, and bicyclists, they do a different kind of activities. So which kind of association it joins, you become apt in that quality. तो जिस तरह का association रखते हैं, it rubs on us, है ना, हमारे उसमें we kind of like look at the mindset of people around us and we get influenced automatically. Yet at the same time, इसीलिए कहा गया है साधु संगा is very important. साधु संगा सर्व शास्त्र कया, लव मात्र साधु संगा सर्व सिद्धि हया. So by the momentary association of a sadhu, one can attain all perfections. And actually, unknowingly, Hiraṇyākṣa also had sadhu sangha. Now, what kind of sadhu sangha did Hiraṇyākṣa have? So again, here in this particular chapter, when it's the first verse itself, ये जो उसको साधु संगा मिला है वो रिवील किया गया है. Again, we also understand that Hiraṇyākṣa is none other than Vijay, who was one of the doorkeepers at Vaikuntha, and Jai Vijay, the two doorkeepers, were cursed by the Chatur Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar, the four sages who were trying to enter into the Vaikuntha. They were stopped by these two doorkeepers, so they cursed these two doorkeepers. So that's why they had come. And Lord had said that I will quickly get you back and you will constantly be remembering me in anger. So when you fight with someone, you have to employ anger. हम लोग अपना गुस्सा जब लगाते हैं तभी हम लोग लड़ सकते हैं. बिना गुस्से के लड़ाई नहीं हो सकती. Again, so that anger is used in a fight. And so हम लोग यहाँ पे समझते हैं कि किस तरह से हिरण्याक्ष जो था, जैसे उसको पता लगा कि अरे विष्णु, भगवान विष्णु is the one who is a perfect fighter for me, my opponent की तरह. He, not being very intelligent, not realizing कि भगवान विष्णु is called Ajita, who is never defeated, who is never conquered. जिनको कभी कोई जीत नहीं सकता है, उनका नाम अजिता है, तब भी उनसे लड़ने के लिए तत्पर है, बहुत ही eager है. He is very eager. He is constantly meditating कि कैसे मिले. तो हिरण्याक्ष को Hiraṇyākṣa, उसका नाम ही क्या है? He has an eye for the gold, right? So he is looking for the best thing out there. So he has eye for gold, and that's why when he was extracting so much gold from planet Earth had fallen, lost its balance from its orbit and fell into the Garbhodak ocean. और उस समय हमने जैसे पहले पढ़ा है कि जो when it fell in the ocean, at that time Lord appeared as Varahadev and he lifted Mother Earth, पृथ्वी को गर्भोदक ओशन के बिल्कुल डेप्थ से निकाल के लेके आए. और उससे पहले क्या हुआ? Hiraṇyākṣa, he is looking for Lord Vishnu, to fight with Lord Vishnu. So he gets sadhu sangha, he meets Devashi Narad. Now Devashi Narad is always eager, being a devotee of the Lord, and how he is always chanting Narayan, Narayan. He is always. So again, when Hiraṇyākṣa asks him, where can I find Vishnu? He is saying Narayan. He is in Nar. He is in the ocean, right? One who is resting on the ocean. One is in the ocean. So hearing this, Hiraṇyākṣa, he was so gigantic, right? He had a body like a mountain. So he immediately went on to look for Lord Vishnu. And so he went to the Garbhodak ocean region. And that's where he sees Lord Varahadev coming out of the water. So we'll be looking at those and we'll be discussing those times. But what is important is the tendency, the characteristics, the kind of activities we engage in, with the mindset we engage in, that kind of tendencies we end up, taking on. It reminds me of बहुत ही interesting stories है. Story है, short story है. Acharyas की तरह they describe this characteristic. Once there was a thief, एक चोर था, तो क्या था? वो तीर्थ यात्रा पे जाता है. तो अब जो तीर्थ यात्रा कर रहे होते हैं, तो ऐसे में क्या होता है? धर्मशाला पे रुकते हैं लोग, राइट? अब ये जो चोर था उसकी चोरी करने की आदत थी, राइट? तो अब लेकिन वो चाहता नहीं था चोरी करना, लेकिन अपनी चोरी की आदत को कैसे छुड़ाए उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. वो सो नहीं पा रहा है. तो क्या होता है? रात को धर्मशाला में एक का सामान दूसरी जगह रख देता है, दूसरे का सामान तीसरी जगह रख देता है. इस तरह से वो लोगों का जो सामान होता है ना, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह रख देता है. और सुबह सब लोग उठते हैं तो उनको उनका सामान नहीं मिलता है, तो सब लोग बोल रहे हैं अरे चोरी हो गया सब लोग। फिर उसके बाद में सब लोगों को बोलता है कि एक्चुअली मैं तीर्थ यात्रा पे निकला हूँ, मैं एक्चुअली चोर हूँ, लेकिन मैंने आपके सामान चुराया नहीं है, लेकिन मैं अपनी जो प्रवृत्ति है, जो मेरा नेचर है, मेरी जो ये एक टेंडेंसी है, उसके कारण मैं सो नहीं पा रहा था, तो मैंने बस ये किया कि एक का सामान दूसरे का रख दिया, दूसरे का सामान तीसरे का रख दिया, सारा सामान यही है, आप प्लीज़ आपस में देख के ढूंढ लीजिए। एंड सो दिस इज़ द नेचर, है ना, किसी के जो क्वालिटीज़ होती हैं वो इतना ज़्यादा डिस्टर्ब करती हैं। एंड वेरी सिंपली इस तरह की जो बैड क्वालिटीज़ हैं उसको रिमूव करने का बहुत ही सिंपल है, बिकॉज दिस इज माइंड प्लेइंग गेम्स, राइट? दैट्स व्हाई समटाइम्स दे आर कॉल्ड माइंड गेम्स। समटाइम्स माइंड प्लेज गेम्स मोर विथ अस देन विथ अदर्स। तो कभी कभी लोग बोलते हैं दिस पर्सन इज प्लेइंग माइंड गेम्स विथ अदर्स। नो, दिस माइंड इज एक्चुअली प्लेइंग गेम विथ हिम। उसके खुद के साथ हो रहा है, बिकॉज ही इज थिंकिंग आई एम दिस बॉडी। दैट्स द बिगेस्ट गेम माइंड इज प्लेइंग, राइट? एंड व्हेन वन अंडरस्टैंड्स कि उसका समाधान क्या है, समाधान यानी व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन। अब समाधान के लिए आपको समाधि चाहिए, राइट? समाधि से आपको समाधान मिलता है, और समाधान सिंपली यही है कि अपने हाथ उठा के चैंट करना चाहिए, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जाप, मंत्र मन त्रायति इति मंत्र, जो मन को डिलीवर करे, जो मन को स्वच्छ करे, जो उसकी सारी प्रताड़ना, ऑल द काइंड ऑफ ट्रिबुलेशंस जो माइंड फेस कर रहा है, उससे उसको रिलीव करे, ऑल काइंड ऑफ बाइंडिंग्स स्पेशली विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द बॉडी। एंड टू बी एबल टू कंट्रोल द माइंड, जब मन को हम इस तरह से डिलीवर कर देते हैं, ऑफ कोर्स we are situated, because then we understand with our intelligence that we are living entities, we are jivas, and jivera swarup hoya Krishna nityadas, and as living entities we are eternal servant of Lord Krishna. So materialistic warmongers, जैसा पर्पट में बताया है, you know, they are ready to fight with anyone, and sometimes these kind of personalities means being driven by materialistic propensities. This is demonic propensity, driven by a false ego, thinking that I am this body. And when the person thinks that I am this body, then his tendency is aham mameti, I and mine. I causes envy and mine causes lust. I refers to I am so and so. Sometimes people are very proud. They say I am an Indian, I am an American. You know, Srila Prabhupada, once again, many times, and Acharyas, they reveal, pauper is proud of his penny. So everyone has a reason to think of something associated, any kind of upadhi with respect to the body makes them feel very nice. You know, sometimes this is where, people say, Lord Krishna reveals in Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, that Nimitra Matam Bhavya Savasachin. You can just be an instrument. But sometimes people, they kind of like glorify themselves and try to say, I am a preacher. And not understanding that we are just an instrument, in Krishna's service. There are better ways to understand that we feel great satisfaction in glorifying Krishna for our purification. That is what is the definition of preacher. But people misunderstand, thinking that I am this body and my purpose is to preach to others. Main preaching happens at home, in our own heart, in purification of our own mind. हमें अपना उद्धार करना पहले ज़्यादा जरूरी है. Otherwise we are all bound in this material world, the three modes of material energy. हम लोग सब, गुणा also means ropes, right? तो हमें रस्सी की तरह जैसे किसने बांध दिया है, shackles में बांध दिया है, तो उस तरह की स्टेज में है. Who are we to tell others? But we want to glorify Lord Krishna in the association of devotees, so that by the mercy of Lord Krishna and our endeavor in glorifying Lord Krishna, automatically these shackles will fall apart, and we can all be free and sing together, work together, act together, and please together Lord Shri Krishna. So again, that is the purpose. So with that mindset, we should understand this knowledge that it is all purifying. I may be impure, you may be impure, but the message is pure. And when we are associating with the pure message, with Lord Shri Krishna, who is literally incarnation, appearing as Srimad Bhagavatam in this age, who is the sound vibration, appearing as his holy name, who is appearing in Ach Vigraha form, as the deity form in the temples. And people have many deities even at homes. So when we worship the deities, we are directly, जब हम भगवान की पूजा करते हैं श्रीमद् भागवतम की तरह, उनके नाम का जप करते हैं, उनके ग्लोरीज गाते हैं, नेम फॉर्म एक्टिविटीज पास टाइम, देन वी आर इन डायरेक्ट कांटेक्ट विद भगवान. तो हम भगवान के डायरेक्ट कांटेक्ट में हैं और ऐसे में वी गेट प्यूरिफाइड. इट इज़ आवर प्यूरिफिकेशन दैट शुड बी आवर फोकस. वी शुड कॉन्स्टेंटली, हमें ऐसी एक्टिविटीज़ पे एंगेज रहना चाहिए जिससे हम अपने को शुद्ध कर सकें, अपनी डिवाइन क्वालिटीज़ को एनहेंस कर सकें और डिमोनिक क्वालिटीज़ को कर्ब कर सकें. सो we become divine when we engage in glorifying the divine, the supreme divine, Lord Shri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. And so, man mana bhav mad bhakto. So of course, when we glorify him, when we pay obeisances to him, when we are constantly meditating on him, right? When you call someone's name, immediately their picture appears in your mind, doesn't it? अपने आप उनके पिक्चर एकदम से दिमाग में आ जाती है. जब हम अपने पेरेंट्स का नाम लेते हैं, immediately we remember, what they look like and how loving they are, how affectionate they are. So similarly, when we are chanting the holy name of the Lord, when we are singing his glories, when we are remembering unka naam, name, form, activities, pastime ka roop, unki activities, unki leelaएं, जब भी हम स्मरण करते हैं, remember करते हैं, of course we get completely, transformed, because we elevate above the three modes of material nature and we transcend, right, the three modes of material nature, and we become Krishna conscious, understanding what is our true nature, and we become happy, we become fearless, we become free of all kind of anxieties. तो ऐसे में हमें सारी anxieties मिट जाती हैं, हमारा सारा fearful state मिट जाता है, all fears they are driven away, and yes, the divine traits come in and demonic traits are off, as well as we become very dear to Krishna, because this is where he is pleased, and this is where we become pleased, because Lord is Rishikesha. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So when we engage our senses in pleasing Lord Rishikesha, then that is proper service. It is not for the gratification of our senses, but to please Lord Shri Krishna, that we should engage in his service. So अब जो हिरण्याक्ष है, he has received this association of Devashi Narada Sadhu. And Devashi Narada is always eager to bring someone to Lord Shri Krishna, right? This way or that way, he wants one to come to, in contact with Lord Shri Krishna. So he is very pleased that Hiraṇyākṣa wants to meet Lord Krishna. And he has already heard from Lord Brahma that actually this is none other than the doorkeeper of Vaikuntha. And Lord is eager to take him back, and the devotees are more eager to help Lord in his mission. So he tells where Hiraṇyākṣa can find Lord Vishnu. So there, जब Hiraṇyākṣa is looking for Lord Vishnu, he goes to the Garbhodak ocean. He saw that the all-powerful personality of Godhead in his Boar incarnation, Varaha Rupa, bearing the earth upward on the ends of his tusks. So Bhagwan Varaha Rupa mein hai, Varaha has tusks. So again, this is the wild boar form. But that's the form he has taken. He is still transcendental. And robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. So when Lord appeared as Varahadev, he was looking so magnificent that जो demon था, his splendor was completely diminished in front of, even Lord appearing as Varahadev was so much more beautiful, so attractive. And when he was carrying the planet Earth on his tusks, it appeared so beautiful. The earth appeared so beautiful, and the Lord bearing earth on his tusks appeared so beautiful that the splendor, that attractive figure of Hiraṇyākṣa completely was overtaken, right? And the demon laughed, "Oh, an amphibious beast." So again, he is, जब किसी का तेज खत्म हो जाता है, right? Especially in a demonic state, then instead of saying that you are greater, they try to show the other personality that they are bad. And there is a very nice example given by the acharyas, that once there was this tiger. He goes to drink water and the goat is drinking water. So the tiger says, you are making the water muddy. The deer says, no, I'm not making the water muddy. The tiger says, no, you are making the water muddy. And so attacks the deer and kills it. Basically, all the tiger wanted was to kill the deer, but he found an excuse. This is what people do. Materialistic people, they first give someone a bad name, and then they hang the person, saying that the person is bad. But there was nothing related to that giving bad name. The only purpose was they did not like this opponent of theirs, so they defamed the opponent just to get the support, or show to the general populace who is innocent, to completely drive them away. This is where many of the religious wars starts, right? And there have been more wars in this history of mankind in the name of religion than any other purpose. So many times people, they say, "Arey, Hindu dharm sankat mein hai." Arey, how can dharm be in sankat? Yes, people not able to follow, they will be in sankat. Dharm will never be in sankat. Again, it is people, and people who say dharm sankat mein hai, they themselves are in this bodily conception, not understanding that first we should continue to engage, not asking others, but we should engage in Lord's devotional service. And you can do it without having to step out of the house. You don't have to say, okay, Bhagwan ko hamari help chahiye, otherwise Bhagwan nahi rahenge. This is a demonic mindset in reality. The divine mindset is that he is sarvavyapi, right? We should not think that Lord needs our help. He is sarvavyapi, he is sarv-shaktishali, he is all potent, he has unlimited potencies. And he doesn't need our help, rather we need his help. He is Atmaram, he is satisfied in himself. And sometimes when we go to the temple and say, oh, we have to preach so that Lord can be saved. What is going on? This is demonic mindset. We should be saying, how can I serve the Lord? How can I please the Lord? That is our purpose. We can only be an instrument in his service, right? That is the mindset we should be approaching. And not the demonic mindset. Just like यहाँ पे, Hiraṇyākṣa is saying, oh, an amphibious beast. So again, इस पिछले चैप्टर में हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था द इनकारनेशन ऑफ द सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉड हेड, राइट? एंड उसमें किस तरह से उन्होंने अर्थ को अपलिफ्ट किया. सो एक तो स्वयंभुवा मनु के समय किया, उस समय हिरण्याक्ष नहीं था, उस समय अर्थ हैड जस्ट फॉलन एंड सो इट वाज ब्रॉट बैक. नाउ दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. People look at all these scientists, and the scientists are saying so many theories, but not a single scientist can give this reason why of so many hundreds of thousands of planets. They have seen so many stars, like self-effulgent planet, just like they are also called planet as per Hindi conversation, but they are called stars, just like sun is a star, right? Self-effulgent. Yet at the same time, there is no other planet that is known to contain water like Earth has. The secret is, of course, in the Shastra is given, because it fell in Garbhuda question as Lord Varahadev lifted. By the potency passed on to the earth, Prithvi jo hai, uspe jo water bodies, the oceans, they formed. And then the second, abhi hum aage padhenge, kis tarah se earth gets the potency to float on top of water. Previously, Garbhuda question ke andar gir gayi thi. Lekin ab jab Bhagwan Varahadev usko place karte hain on the surface, इस बार नहीं गिरती है. क्यों? क्योंकि वराहदेव जो है लॉर्ड कृष्णा, ही इज पासिंग ऑन हिज पोटेंसी, हिज शक्ति टू अर्थ. तो ये जो है ना डीमंस, वो भगवान को नहीं समझ सकते, एंड वो सोचते हैं कि लाइक भगवान जब व्हेन ही अपीयर्स एज मत्स्य, एज फिश इनकारनेशन, एज कुर्मा, राइट, एज टर्टल, एज टॉर्टॉइस, दैट वुड हैपन इन द फ्यूचर. Because Hiraṇyākṣa's son is Prahlad. Prahlad's son will be Virochana, as we'll hear. Okay. And Virochana's son is Bali Maharaj. And during Bali Maharaj time is when Samudra Manthan happened. And to sustain, to give the support to Bandara mountain, Lord appeared as Kachua, as tortoise. So that's Kurma avatar. So we'll be hearing that about. So, but people, they think that these are just, Lord is just appearing as a big beast and that his body is material. No, his body is always divine. He is always transcendental. And this is a great offense, no matter which form where Lord appears to think that he has a material form. He is always transcendental to the three modes of material energy and he is always Ajita. So there is similarly in Chaitanya Sampradaya, there is a demoniac misconception about the descent of Lord Nityananda. Sometimes people think that Lord Nityananda, when he appeared, he was just a common human being. No, he is the Guru of the Adhyatmic world, right, a spiritual world. He is none other than Lord Balaram, who is descending as Lord Nityananda. And so, he is the spiritual master, the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. So, he is teaching us by his behavior how to serve Lord Shri Krishna. So, that is what Acharya means, right? One who shows by his own example. So, here, this kind of demonic tendencies we should give up. And this is where, even in Chaitanya Sampradaya, in Gaura Sampradaya, Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport, that this misconception, this demonic misconception exists. So we should understand कि ऐसा demonic misconception, ऐसा आसुरी भाव नहीं रखना चाहिए. और उसके बाद में बता रहे हैं that the demon, he is addressing the Lord, right? He's saying, oh, best of the demigods, right? Lord is the Lord of the demigods. He is worshipped by the demigods, जो कि वराह के form में है, right? Varaha is like a boar form, the wild boar form, and he wants to say something, so he says, hear from me first, right? And what does he say? Again, like I said, जैसा आचार्य ने बताया, पहले they want to put blame on the other person, so that everyone on their side agrees, yes, he's right, that other person is bad. He's saying that the earth is entrusted to us. ये जो earth है ना, जो पृथ्वी है, जो तुमने उठा रखी है, ये actually हमारी है. It doesn't belong to you. Not knowing as a demon, this is what people, mameti, right? That's where lust arises. Aham is I. So again, I is related to various kind of upadhis people get. Even sometimes as preachers I gave the example, but various kind of upadhis associated with this body. I am an Indian, I am a rich man, I am a VP, I am a CEO, I am a CIO, I am a president of a temple. Sometimes even that becomes demonic because it is associated with the upadhi, with the body. So again, this is, one should understand, I am a servant of God. Chivera Surupure Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. That is my true position. And in that position, I have been given a responsibility of a preacher, responsibility of a president, responsibility of a CIO, responsibility as a VP of a company, responsibility as a husband, responsibility as a father. So we have to carry out our responsibilities with right consciousness. That is divine. Demoniac is thinking that everything is running because of me. So, jo asuri bhav hai, this demonic tendency we should curb. So now here, and mameti is mine. That, this house is mine, this wife is mine, these children are mine. Again, they have been brought in our life by the mercy of the Lord, and we have a responsibility to help them cross over this ocean of naissance by the mercy of the Lord with proper encouragement so that they endeavor, so they take to the chanting of the holy name, so that they engage in Lord's devotional service, Shavam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Achanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. The 9th process of devotional service, and in the 11th canto, Shukdev Goswami also adds 2 more, reading and writing. So these are also devotional service. Sometimes people say, why are you writing anything? Well, all our acharyas are teaching us by their example that they have written. So we have to practice writing on a daily basis, not just on a monthly basis, but daily basis we should be writing something. And devotees, they maintain journal, they write articles, they write blogs for their purification and for the purification of the readers, so that we can share something. And in this particular times, online, preaching that is going on, that is service that purifies us, and everyone who hears the glories of the Lord also gets purified. And here we are seeing the tendency of a demon of mameti, mine. So again, this is where lust arises. Lust, again, lust, anger and greed. These three are the three gates to hell. So this is how one enters hell, through one of these gates. And we talked about the cycle of from lust, anger arises. And anger causes bewilderment, delusion, and bewilderment of memory, and finally destruction of one's intelligence. And so he is saying that you cannot take this earth from my presence and not be hurt by me. तुम हमारी जो पृथ्वी है तुम नहीं ले जा सकते. वराहदेव को बोल रहे हैं, Lord is the Bhoktaram Yagatapsam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. He is the supreme proprietor of all material and spiritual universes. Even the body Hiraṇyākṣa has been granted to him by Lord Kṛṣṇa. Yet at the same time he is thinking that this earth belongs to me. So he is going in this way. Now in this verse, which is the third verse of this chapter, Sridhar Swami in the purpose Srila Prabhupada is saying that even though he is calling Lord with different names, which are like as insults, but indirectly Saraswati Devi, she, again we will hear in 10th Canto a lot about this, she uses the same words to glorify Lord. So he is actually unknowingly glorifying Lord. So when he says the word Vana Gochara, जो कि Boar, Varaha lives in a forest, one who is a resident of the forest. लेकिन उसका अलग दूसरा meaning है one who lies on the water, Narayan, right? So it also means Narayan. And Lord Vishnu, he is lying on the water, Nar. So he is actually glorifying. He is addressing Lord as Mragaha. Unintentionally, he is calling the Lord. Mragaha also means one who is sought by the great sages, by the devotees. So he is also calling him as Agya. Gya means knowledge, right? Or there is no knowledge which is not known to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So ऐसे में he is also called Agya, which is a glorification. And he is calling the Lord Adhama, right? So actually Suradhama. Suradhama, Sura means the demigods. Sura means the devotees, the demigods. And Adhama means Lord of all there is. So Lord Kṛṣṇa is the worshipable deity, not just of human beings. He is worshipped by all the demigods, Suras, all the demigods. So he is the best of all the demigods. He is their worshipable deity. And so when he is saying, in spite of my presence, मेरी presence के सामने भी, you are completely able to take away the earth. तो मेरे सामने पृथ्वी को ले जा रहे हो. न स्वस्ति यास्यसि, right? So unless you kindly take this earth from our custody, there can be no good fortune for us. जब तक आप हमसे पृथ्वी नहीं ले जाएंगे, तब तक हमारा भाग्य नहीं जाएगा. So again, he is actually glorifying the Lord, even though he is using Mother Saraswati actually uses the same words by the asuras, by the demons, to glorify the Lord, because the meaning changes. So same word may have two different meanings, and this is the glory of Sanskrit language. Some of the words, even in Hindi we see jal. Jal on one side means water, on other side it means burning, right? Jal gaya, something is burned, right? So again, the same word may have different meanings based on the context, how you are using, based on the mood, how you are showing. And now, because now he has put a blame, next thing is now he is doing name calling, right? Now you are an offender, so we can call you names. So this is a tendency, a demonic tendency. And this is what we should learn not to do. We should not, किसी की निंदा नहीं करनी चाहिए, even जनअपराध नहीं करना चाहिए, general populace की भी निंदा नहीं करना चाहिए. And we should not call anyone any bad names. He's saying, he's saying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hiraṇyākṣa is saying, after putting a blame, that now I have proven that you are a criminal, now I'll call you any name. So he's saying, you rascal, you have been nourished by our enemies to kill us. So, now, nourished by our enemies, he's basically referring to the demigods, that they are making various kind of oblations to you. Bhoktaram yagatapsam. Lord Kṛṣṇa says that I am the beneficiary of all sacrifices. Right? And so the people who worship the demigods, they are worshipping him indirectly because they are less intelligent. Just like Hiraṇyākṣa, he had worshipped Lord Brahma to receive a boon, not to be killed by any of the living entities, 8.4 million, except for Boar. He did not say the word Varaha when he listed the other all the living entities he cannot be killed by. And now he is saying that he is blaming, you have been nourished, you have been, various kind of sacrifices have been offered to you by our enemies, the demigods. But he himself worshipped the demigod, Lord Brahma, to receive the boon, which is making him so arrogant. And he is saying that you have killed some demons by remaining invisible. So he has already heard that Lord Vishnu has killed so many demons. And again in Vishnu Puran, Padma Puran, there are descriptions coming where Varun Dev describes the glories of the Lord as how powerful he is, and he lists various demons that are killed or that will be killed as well. So again he is also showing as Trikalagya is one of the qualities of Lord Brahma. So he has heard from Lord Brahma. So he is singing some of the glories. So he is saying, oh, by becoming invisible, by not, and Lord is invisible, he is everywhere. He is in everyone's heart, even spaces between the atom. So now he is saying, another name calling, oh fool. Right? How can one who is all intelligent, from whom we get intelligence, can be fool? But he is doing this name calling, and he is saying, Mayavi ho, right? Many times people considered, even Duryodhana, he considered Lord Kṛṣṇa as not understanding that he is Yogeshwara. He was saying he is Mayavi, Kṛṣṇa Mayavi. He created all this effulgence when he came as a Duta of Pandavas. Lord showed his universal form, where Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitamaha, who are devotees, were able to see him. But Duryodhana and all the other, of his soldiers and other, assembly people, they were completely, blinded by that light, Brahma Jyoti. So, यहाँ पे Hiraṇyākṣa is saying that today I shall enliven my kingsmen by killing you. So I will give pleasure to my kingsmen, जो बाकी asuras हैं, जो मेरे साथी हैं, उनको, they will derive great pleasure when I will kill you, because you have killed so many of the daityas and demons. He's already identifying that. Now it is very interesting that when the description is given, the word daityas is given. So Lord, of all the daityas, he only kills 2. And afterwards he gives the boon that he will not kill any of the daityas. So he's already predicting that he and his brother will be killed. So that is another aspect that is visible. And Lord, he is invisible to the eye of a common man. We don't have eyes to see him. When Arjun at the battle of Kurukshetra, at the battlefield, he desired to see Lord's universal form, Vishwarup. At that time, Lord said that, Arjun, you don't have divine eyes to see, but I will give you divine eyes so we can see. So yes, we can only see when Lord allows us, permits us to see him. And yet at the same time, we follow the words of the Acharyas who are Tattvadashi, who have seen the truth, so that we become qualified to see him, right? So when you want to become a doctor, you go through the qualification to become a doctor. So even for a devotee, which is the highest qualification we can get, the best qualification we can get, is something that we need to first qualify for. And this qualification simply starts with the chanting of the holy name. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. And by avoiding sinful activities, when we follow the 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, right? Because the 4 limbs of dharma are supported when we follow these 4 regulative principles: austerity, mercy, austerity, as well as truthfulness, and in Satyuga, non-violence, yes, that is mercy. Yeah. Yes. And cleanliness, yes. The first is cleanliness. Intoxication, destroys cleanliness, as well as illicit sex actually destroys cleanliness. They're very important. So there were demons like Kamsa, Ravana, Hiraṇyākṣa, Hiraṇyākṣa. They thought themselves to be powerful enough to destroy, to kill even the God. So इस तरह का thought रखते हैं demons. They think that I am all in all. So again, this is where, not realizing that Lord Kṛṣṇa, he doesn't even have to step out of Golok Vrindavan. Just by expanding himself, as Somshas, as Vishnu Tattvas, he can have an arrangement. And in the case of the Acharyas revealed, in this material world, in the current times, he doesn't even have to appear. By his agents itself, he can take care of the demons. And one of his interesting agents, which people are very much afraid of, who is hearing all this pastime, is Yamraj, right? The Lord of the Death. So again, so text 5 पे बता रहे हैं कि जो demon is continuing, that when he will be able to kill, जब वो भगवान को जो वराह रूप में हैं उनको जब वध कर देगा उनका, when he will kill him, and that he's saying that my mace, मेरी गदा से, my club will smash your head. This is again demonic way he's thinking. The sages and the demigods, they will automatically they cease to exist, just like a tree ceases to exist when its roots are destroyed. जब किसी पेड़ की जड़ें dead हो जाती हैं, automatically the tree cannot derive any nutrition, and of course in due course of time the tree will die, right? This is where devotees, we understand that actually we serve, just like we want to we serve the Lord who is the cause of all causes, Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. Similarly, similar to the example analogy that is given, is that we water the roots of the tree so that the whole root is nourished. There is another example given, is the food stuff is given to the as per the process, through the mouth to the stomach, and from stomach all the nutrients are supplied to all the limbs, all the body parts, so that we can derive energy, we can gain energy. तो हम अपना पोषण कर सकें, उसके लिए भोजन जो होता है पेट को दिया जाता है. इससे रिलेटेड एक स्टोरी भी आती है, बड़ी कॉमन है, that once the hands, they were saying, oh, why should I feed the stomach? Stomach तो कोई काम नहीं करती है. Legs were also saying that. So it starts putting the food on the hands, but that's not the process. So what happens is, over a period of time, stomach को कोई भी खाना नहीं देता, कोई भी limb खाना नहीं देता है. So the stomach becomes empty, and now all the limbs become weak. So they realize that there is a process. So similarly, even in devotional service, there is a process. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updeshyanti tajjnanam jnanena statudashna. So we should follow the process. We should try to understand the process, which is we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who is appearing in one of the disciplic successions. So there are 4 disciplic succession: Brahma Sampradaya coming from Lord Brahma, Rudra Sampradaya coming from Lord Shiva, again Kumar Sampradaya coming from Chatur Kumars, and Shi Sampradaya coming from Goddess Lakshmi. So these are the Sampradayas, and of course Brahma Sampradaya is also called Madhva because of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya Sampradaya, also referred to as Gauranga Mahaprabhu appears, so Gaur Sampradaya is there. So many different names come, but basically it's just talking about the branches. But all 4 Sampradayas are originally coming from Lord Kṛṣṇa. All the 4 personalities who are supposed to be the spiritual masters, as we are referring, are getting it from Lord Kṛṣṇa, who is the original spiritual master. So here in this verse, he is saying, just like trees without roots, right? They die. So all these sages and demigods, without your presence, without the God, they will also perish. वो भी अपने आप destroy हो जाएंगे. वो अपने आप, they will be useless. They will be uprooted easily. It's very easy because you are their source. So he, in a way, he is glorifying that, Lord, you are the source of all the beings, but he is doing it in not in foolishness. He's not very intelligent, as he's identifying. So here the demon Hiraṇyākṣa, वो क्या करना चाहता है? He wants to uproot the root. He wants to, and this is what a demonic mindset is. So many demons appearing in this age, they say there is no God, thinking that if they deride the God, they decline the laws of God's nature, so laws of nature, that means they would be able to overcome and become God themselves. Okay, sometimes this is a demonic mindset. If law of nature is that fire burns, doesn't mean that you say, okay, fire will not burn, and you put your hand in fire and it will not burn you. It will still burn because that's the law. So just by denying something does not make it disappear. This is a demonic mindset for people to think in this manner. And only, not only neophytes devotees, but also the ancient sagacious devotees of the Lord would be very much satisfied when this demon, would be killed, would be, devoid of his mace. So, I say, once again, Lord is a person, right? Varade, when he hears these piercing words, so when devotees, we glorify the Lord, Lord becomes pleased. That means there may be something that could, when he hears, he may become displeased, he may be hurt. So, and words are sharper than any weapons in the world, right? And when somebody says very harsh words to you, they pierce your heart so much that no weapons can pierce. So here, Lord is pained by this, shaft-like abusive words of Hiraṇyākṣa, of this demon. Somehow, even though he is hearing these harsh words, he bore the pain because he understood that this is the influence of Maya as a demonic propensity. This devotee of his, who is being completely overcome by the demonic propensity, thinking, I am this body and everything belongs to me. Oh, I am the Lord of all that I pervade. जो भी मैं, जहाँ पे भी मैं हूँ, वहाँ पे everything belongs to me for my pleasure, not for Lord's pleasure. So in this way he is saying, so Lord, he had brought this earth on his tusk, but he saw that the earth was frightened by these words. This demon is speaking, she is afraid, she is shivering, she is shaking. So, and when he appeared, it's just like, an elephant emerges with its female companion when assailed by an alligator. So again, it appeared like an alligator. So again, we covered yesterday, हम लोगों ने कृष्ण and कृष्ण कथा और कीर्तन में discuss किया था Gajendra's pastimes, where how the alligator attacked the king of the elephants, Gajendra. Gaja means again elephant, Yendra is king of elephants. So it appeared like that, and so the Mayavadi philosopher Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, वो नहीं समझ सकते कि भगवान की भी feelings है, that he also has feelings, and when somebody offers prayers, somebody offers glorification, Lord becomes pleased. भगवान तो वो खुश होते हैं जब कोई उनको glorify करता है, और जब कोई भगवान की निंदा करता है तो भगवान को दुख होता है. He becomes dissatisfied, he becomes displeased with such a person. And so when Mayavadis, they say that Lord has no hands, no legs. Even though in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is saying you have thousands of hands, thousands of legs, you have thousands of eyes, you have unlimited eyes, and you are everywhere. I cannot perceive this, and he becomes fearful. But Mayavadis, because of their, being bewildered, they deride Lord by even a form. And so this is very painful. We should not think in this manner that Lord has just become Brahman Jyoti. Rather, Brahman Jyoti जो है भगवान के शरीर से उत्पन्न होती है, from the toes, nails of his toes, which are, shining like jewels. Brahman Jyoti is coming out from there. तो ऐसे में, the conclusion is that God is as sentient as we are. So we, just like we have feelings, we have heart, we have emotions, we have thoughts. Similarly, Lord also has. And so he is very badly hurt by hearing. Yet at the same time, his focus is Lord. Sometimes when it comes to the devotees, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, he is more interested in first protecting the devotees than annihilating the miscreants. It's because Lord wants to instill fearlessness. वो अपने भक्तों के भय को हटाना चाहते हैं. He wants to drive away the fear from the heart of his devotees, any kind of anxiety, because he is Bhakta Vatsala. He keeps his devotees very close to his heart. हृदय के पास रखते हैं भगवान. Vatsal means again chest. So here जो now demon का description दिया है. So again, Hiraṇyākṣa was not just like a very mountain like demon. his characters, his appearance was also very attractive. He had golden hair on his head, so his hair was golden, not black or brown like ours. And he had fearful tusks, so just Lord Varahadev had tusks. But this demon, this Daitya, son of Diti, Hiraṇyākṣa, also had tusks, showing up. And as Lord appeared, he ran, Bhagwan ke piche bhaga, he gave chase to the Lord. When Lord was appearing, he was rising above from the Garbhoda question. Just like an alligator chases an elephant. तो उस तरह से बता रहे हैं मैत्रेय मुनि. And गुस्से में, he's roaring like a thunder, right? And he said, okay, aren't you afraid that you are running away from me? Because Lord Varahadev was ignoring him, he was more worried about Prithvi, planet Earth. So he was not paying attention to, he was going away so that he can make sure that Earth is safe. And so now the demon is chasing the Lord, and Lord is going away quickly to give assurance to Earth. And now the demon is saying, you are such a shameless creature that I am calling you to fight and you are running away from me. So he is using this. So again, he does not understand that Lord, he considers his duty paritraya sadhuna more important than vinashaya dushkritam, than annihilating the miscreants. और ऐसे में Lord, he places the earth within his sight. अच्छी तरह से earth को on the surface of the water रख देते हैं, गर्भोदा क्वेश्चन के surface पर रख देते हैं, and he passes his own potency, right, his own energy to earth so that she can float. This time she will not. Previously, when she lost her balance, she fell into the ocean. But now when Lord, he passes his energy, अपनी शक्ति उस earth को pass करते हैं ताकि शक्ति के कारण earth floats. Now this is not very amazing for the devotees because we see millions of planets जो है, they are floating in the space. Even planet Earth currently is floating in the space because of the potency of the Lord. Now sometimes scientists, they give the example that this is all happening because of law of gravitation. Yes, but where does law of gravitation come from? This is the potency of the Lord, that he has provided this law of gravitation, this potency, so that all these planets जो हैं ये अंतरिक्ष में विराजमान है और they are rotating around, revolving around as well. So जो अब now description दिया है that when this is happening, the demigods, Lord Brahma started singing prayers, seeing this beautiful action of Lord, how he made sure that the earth is secured and is floating on the waters. So he started, and the demigods, they rain flowers on Lord Varahadev. और ऐसे में Lord Varahadev, he is receiving these flowers being showered on him. So of course, what is the opulence on the other side? The demon's opulence has been given, that he is covered with wealth of ornaments, bangles and beautiful golden armor on his body, And he chased the Lord from behind with a great mace. So he बड़ी सी गदा लेके भगवान के पीछे भाग रहा है. The Lord tolerated his piercing ill words. The Lord, even though he's feeling being pierced by the sharp, ill words, different name calling by the demon, he is somehow tolerating it. But in order to reply, he expresses his terrible anger. So now Lord becomes angry. So you can imagine. So here, Acharyas, again, Srila Prabhupada writes that जो materialistic demons होते हैं, people who are thinking I am this body, and they, with this mode, they are running after name, fame and glories. They may collect a large amount of gold. They can collect a lot of physical strength. They can become very powerful. They go to the gym, and just to make a show of their body, they go through various kind of tribulations, but only at the body level, not realizing that the body is going to be destroyed one day. And popularity. They think that these three things can save them. Wealth, nice looks, power, influence, as well as popularity can save them from the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But we all know that when death arrives, all these are useless. So, Bhagwan Varahadev, he says, okay, of course, we are the, Van Gochara, we are the inhabitants of the jungle. But we are also looking for the hunting dogs like you. So again, hunting dogs can be killed by the boar. So he is saying that you are like a dog, you are like a hunting dog. You're running after me just like a hunter would run after someone. And one who is free from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging. So very common saying is, जब गीदड़ की मौत आती है तो वो शहर की ओर भागता है, right? So similarly, Lord is giving a similar example that जो मृत्यु के पाश में है, who is caught up by the death, he has no fear from loose talk, right? Frivolous talk करने से उसको कोई नहीं रोक सकता है, क्योंकि जो fool होता है ना, he is recognized as soon as he opens his mouth. Similarly, a knowledgeable person is also recognized as soon as he opens his mouth. Lord is not engaged in name calling. Now, sometimes people use these words. He's just stating the facts, but not as an attack. He's just saying, he's trying to teach. Even here, he's trying to preach this demon, Hiraṇyākṣa, that you are indulging because he is caught up. He's telling, Lord is saying that Hiraṇyākṣa, you are caught up by the law of death. You don't realize that you cannot overcome. So the demons or autistic persons, they don't try to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. And so they stay entangled in the cycle of birth and death. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Doshanudarshan. They don't understand that these are the four kinds of miseries: birth, death, old age and disease. Jara means old age and Vyadhi is disease. So again, they don't understand. They are constantly going entangled in this. And this is where, by the mercy of the Lord, one can, when wants to understand the Lord as Chaitya Guru, he enables one to meet a bona fide spiritual master. Brahmar bhavite kauna bhagyavan jiva guru Kṛṣṇa prasade paya bhakti lata bija. Brahmar bhavite kauna bhagyavan jiva, a fortunate soul. हम लोग सब, we are all in this cycle of birth and death, in this Ferris wheel. Sometimes we rise above to the heavenly planets, sometimes we fall to the hellish planets. Lekin, kauna bhagyavan jiva, a fortunate soul who wants to understand, why am I here? Who has this atato brahma jigyasa? Why is bad things happening to good people? Why is there suffering in this world? जब हम इनके ऊपर विचार करते हैं, when we have inquiries about these matters, then we become fortunate. And by how do we become fortunate? Because Lord in our heart, as super soul, as Paramatma, He is Chaitya Guru, right? हमारी चेतना में. And so He enables us to see a bona fide spiritual master. He encourages us to look after a bona fide spiritual master so that we can, be delivered in this very life by taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, hearing the instructions, pleasing the Lord by engaging in devotional service, by calling out Himself, to Him to please deliver us, because we have no capability. Lord is all potent, so He can be merciful to us when we chant His Guru and when we call out to Him like a child calls out to its mother. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. So in this way, the conversation is going on, and Lord is actually trying to preach this demon. But of course, when people are maddened by anger, right, they don't want to hear anything. And now Lord, He is saying in a very strange way, He is trying to, also make him proud. That is, certainly we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatal, and we have lost all shame. So he is saying that what you are saying, it appears from your perspective that we have given up all kind of shame. हमने सारी शर्म छोड़ के रसातल के जो है इस पृथ्वी को हमने, as if we have abducted her. I have taken up. I have stolen the charge. And now we all understand that planet is not one of the lower planets, it's one of the earthly planets, which is the middle region. So there, in this particular world, that's why Triloka word is said. Triloka refers to heaven, earth, and then hell. Right? The hellish planets are below, and then earthly planets in the middle, and then the heavenly planets are above. So he is saying that although bitten by a powerful mace, right, I shall stay here in the water for some time. Because having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. So Lord is saying this is to provoke this demon that I'm not so much interested in fighting with you. now that I have stolen something from you and you are all powerful, I have no place to go. Well, Lord is everywhere, but he is actually trying to show this demon that he is all pervading. There is no way, but a demon can think that their possessions are their property, while everything has been provided by the Lord, and everything belongs to the Lord, and he can take anything away at any time that he desires. But the demon would not be able to understand that. And now Lord continues to say, Lord Varahadev is saying to Hiraṇyākṣa that you are supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers. So you have a big army, infantry, right? And now you can take proper steps to overthrow us. So you can quickly, with your army, you can overthrow. This is the mindset of a materialistic person. A person with demonic mindset will think that he can overthrow God. He can overthrow the plan of God. He can overcome the laws of nature. Right? This is the mindset you have. And then he says, give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. So now come and fight. So he is invoking. So one may be proud, but he does not. He says, now that you have said that you will be killing, then you should not give up this thought and you should immediately attack. So here, the demon, he is like acting like a fierce cobra. So Maitreya Rishi कह रहे हैं कि जो हिरण्याक्ष है, thus challenged by the personality of Godhead Lord Varahadev, he became angry and agitated, and he started hissing like a challenged cobra. And cobra becomes very fearful, very angry when being trampled on, right? So in this way, he is agitating the demon. Lord is agitating the demon so that he is hissing indignantly. His senses shaken by wrath. So his body is shaking, right, because of anger, because of wrath. And he immediately, attacked with his powerful mace. And Lord, simply by shifting to the side, dodged his attack, right? And now it is very nicely, sometimes when you read, once again, not sometimes, all the times, when you read, you hear in Srimad Bhagavatam such wonderful analogies. Maitreya Muni is saying that just like a yogi would elude death, so Lord, just by moving aside, expertly, completely made his attack, he nullified it. So he didn't have to counter-attack, he just moved out. And this is where a yogi can elude death just by the yogic practices. And here Srila Prabhupada is saying that when a yogi is attacked by death, but is being protected by the Lord, then death cannot do anything. Here Srila Prabhupada is referring to his own example, that when he was coming to US by Jaladuta, by the ship, the cargo ship, at that time he had 2 heart attacks. But he was saved by the Lord. So even though at this old age, 69 years of age, he was coming to US and he had 2 heart attacks, he did not die because he was going on a mission to please Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. He was following the instructions of his spiritual master, who said that you should translate these books, this knowledge in English and preach to English people. So he understood the purport that he has to take this knowledge, not just translate the books and then put it on the shelf, but take it to the English-speaking people, to the Western countries, and to deliver them, So, Paschatya Desh Tarine. So again, these people who are lost in this Western world, to deliver them, he brought this language, this literature, the scriptures to the Western world. After translating them, he still brought Srimad Bhagavatam first canto was translated by Srila Prabhupada, and he brought to the Western world. And because he was on this mission, he was saved by the Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa himself. And he saw in his dream after the second attack that Lord Kṛṣṇa himself was rowing the boat, and that everything became calm from that point onward. And the captain of the ship, he said that he had never seen Atlantic Ocean so quiet and calm. Atlantic Ocean, when coming on the route, he had always seen that it was very turbulent waters, very difficult to pass, but it was all very calm and it was all very serene. So this is Rakhe Kṛṣṇa Mare Kṛṣṇa Rakhe Ke. If Lord Kṛṣṇa wants to protect, who can kill you? If Lord Kṛṣṇa wants to kill, who can protect you? Right? So Lord is now fighting. So he also exhibits his anger, and he rushed to meet the demon, and the demon was biting his lips in rage. So again, he took up his mace and began to repeatedly bandish it about. So again, here as they are fighting, Lord, he struck the enemy on the right of his eyebrow, of his brow, but the demon Hiraṇyākṣa was very expert in fighting. So he very quickly protected by the maneuver of his own mace. By moving his mace expertly, अपनी गदा से उसने block किया. So this way they struck each other with their huge maces. So Lord Varahadev and Hiraṇyākṣa, they are fighting with the maces, and they are seeking their own victory as they are fighting. Now this is where Jai Vijay, the doorkeepers, they wanted to fight with the Lord, right? So the doorkeeper Vijay is appearing as Hiraṇyākṣa, is getting his desire fulfilled, that he's fighting with the Lord, that desire. So even this is a secondary rasa, that when one is fighting with the Lord in anger, they are actually, that's why sometimes we see when the two fighters, they engage in a fight, they desire pleasure by hitting each other. This is a somewhat of a gross aspect of it, but again, in the transcendental world, everything is spiritual from that perspective. This desire of the Lord to fight with a demon, so that he gets the delight of having a fight. He's being satisfied. So Lord is also pleased. So again, from a demonic perspective, it may appear, but this is anukulena Kṛṣṇanushīlanam. But that doesn't mean we should do like that, because we are living entities. This is Lord is sending his devotee as a demon to fight with him. We cannot try to imitate. We should not imitate. We should simply follow the instructions of the acharyas and the shastras and the sadhus, where it is said that, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami also, the acharyas, they are warning us that we should not try to have this kind of demonic tendencies, because then we will have to suffer in hellish conditions. We should understand that these are Lord's pastimes, where we should try to curb the demonic tendencies and try to engage in devotional service so as to enhance our divine tendencies, divine activities to please Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. So here, the demon Hiraṇyākṣa and the Lord, they struck each other. Now Hiraṇyākṣa is another name for Hiraṇyākṣa. Hiraṇyākṣa has, for 10 other personalities, this word Hiraṇyākṣa being used. So again, Yaksha, we know, the Lord of Yaksha is Kubera, right? The treasure of the demigods. Hiraṇyākṣa is also another name for Kubera. It is also another name for Har Har Mahadev, for Lord Shiva. So there are many personalities who have this name. Hiraṇyākṣa is another name for the Lord. And so these two were fighting, and they were also, the blood was oozing out because of the injuries they are inflicting on each other. And it appeared like a contest between two bulls for a cow. So Prithvi is also, the earth is also known as Go, right, which means cow. So again, and these two opponents were trying to claim Prithvi, the earth, planet earth. So Bharatvarsha actually means the entire planet. It doesn't just mean India as it shows currently, but over a period of time various boundaries have appeared. And so Bharatvarsha has now being used to mean only the region of India, Bharat. But actually Bharat refers to planet Earth. A big misconception people have, especially in India, thinking that Bharat means only India. It actually refers to the whole planet, the planet Earth, right? And not just the land, but also the waters. And the waters that we are seeing, now because when Lord Varahadev brought Earth, the waters came along Earth because of the gravitational force and the potency of the Lord. And that's why planet Earth has water bodies so easily visible, because that's coming from the Garbhoda question also. So as the time passed, there are many national boundaries have appeared. And in this way, the fight continued, right, between the two opponents, Lord Varahadev and Hiraṇyākṣa, as if two bulls are fighting for a cow, to claim a cow. Or SMA, one should not understand, once again, one should not think that Lord's form is like an ordinary, just a gigantic boar. He is a transcendental form, and he is Yajna Purusha. So he is that means the body of Vishnu. Yajna Purusha is none other than Vishnu. And so, even though, like Lord Brahma in this chapter has been called as Swarat, so this refers to that we all living entities have been given little independence, because Lord wants us to love Him by our own will. So this independence can be employed in favor of the Lord, Anukulena Kṛṣṇa, or unfavorable to the Lord, Pratikule. So we should be favorably accepting everything that is favorable to our devotional service. So the 6 limbs of surrender, Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Vajanam, Rakshishati Vishwaso, Gopatitve Varnam Tatha, Atma Nikshepakapane, Shadvida Sharanagati. Anukulyasya Sankalpa, we should accept anything that is favorable to our devotional service. Pratikulyasya Vajanam, we should reject everything that is unfavorable to our devotional service. Rakshishyati te Vishwaso, we should always understand that Lord is our protector. He will protect us in all circumstances. Gopatitve Varnam Tatha, we should accept the guardianship of the Lordship. We should accept His shelter. Atma Nikshepa, we should surrender everything in Lord's service. So we can, all our activities, all our belongings is actually, they mainly belong to the Lord, and they should be used in pleasing the Lord. Right? So everything should be dovetailed in pleasing Lord Kṛṣṇa. And Karpane, and in a mood of humility. We should be humble in our approach, because everything that we have received, even ourselves, we are coming from the Lord. So He is the Aham Bij Pradapita, Lord Kṛṣṇa says in Bhagavad Gita. He is the seed-giving Father, and we are the seed. We are appearing as a part and parcel. So by curbing the demonic tendency, we become divine. And so as a devotee, we enhance our Kṛṣṇa consciousness, we become Kṛṣṇa conscious, and we become dear to Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. And so He can take us back home, back to Godhead, where we can be eternally happy. So here, as soon as we engage in glorification of Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa, we become happy. That is a simple way of saying. And we become transcendent to the 3 modes of material nature when we are chanting, when we are hearing the glories, Sharanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaram. Hearing is the most potent form of devotional service. So when Lord Brahma, along with all the sages and demigods, when he arrived, and he saw that this demon had achieved so much unprecedented power because of the boon he had received from Lord Brahma. So he then addressed Lord Narayan, and he started singing prayers. This is the first time Lord Brahma saw Lord Kṛṣṇa appearing in the form of a boar as Varaha. And so he started singing the prayer. So again, this is where he's singing the prayer that, my dear Lord, just like child, they sometimes play with a snake and then they kill the snake, and no one is unhappy when a snake is killed. Please don't play with him anymore, just kill him. And this is where why? Because seeing this fight going on, Lord Brahma is saying that even Narayan is showing blood coming out of his body, and the demon is getting blood out of his body. So they are hurting each other. But as a devotee, we want just demons to be perished immediately. Paritrana sadhunam. But there is a purpose when the demons exist. That is to teach us that we should not become like them. They become so painful and they are always unhappy in their heart. While devotees, even though not having enough wealth, not having enough facilities, they are happy, because happiness is not bought by wealth. One of my coach, he basically said, in the early times, about almost a decade and a half back, he said that when I said that money does not make one happy, his statement was that it gives you bargaining power. And yes, in the material sense, it makes sense, because even when you go to the temple, to build the temples, you need money. And sometimes the brahmacharis, they run after a person who has a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of name, fame, glories. Materialistically, somebody is well established, and they, want to get some, Lakshmi from such person, but not realizing that Lakshmi is more happy in the service of Lord Kṛṣṇa than the materialist. Automatically, she will come on her own accord by the mercy of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Hare Krishna. So this is where we would like to end, where Lord Brahma is praying to the Lord that, Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and please destroy this demon as soon as possible, and not just play with him like you are playing. while he understands that Lord wants to enjoy this fight, in the next chapter we'll be hearing that he even becomes fearful. Lord Brahma, not Lord Varahadev, Lord Brahma becomes fearful and he has sweat appearing on his forehead. Why? Because it appears to him that the demon is going to win. So sometimes it appears, yes, even to devotees, that the materialists are going to take over this planet Earth. But that will never happen, because planet Earth is a devotee of the Lord and will always be protected. Hare Krishna, this is where the chapter ends. And today we hear about the characters of demons, right? How the characteristics of demonic mindset, how a demon thinks, how they feel, how they behave, how they act, and how they try to influence others, and how they think that they can even deny Lord. They can deny God and His laws as well. So such tendencies is something that we should try to curb, and we should engage in devotional service so that we become divine, not demoniac. We become devotees, and by becoming divine, by becoming devotee, right, we can constantly engage in glorifying the Lord, constantly doing Shravanam, constantly doing Kirtanam, constantly doing Smaranam, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto. So we constantly think about Him, we become His devotee, Mad Bhakto, Madhyaji, we worship Him. This is Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 65th verse, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So by worshipping Him and by paying obeisances to Him, we can become devotee, and when we become Krishna conscious, we become very dear to Lord Krishna. Canto SRIMADBHAGAVATAM ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, are there any questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you viewers for participating in this class. सबसे पहले तो प्रभु जी, बैसाखी जी और बहुत से व्यूअर्स ने साथ में कमेंट्स में काफ़ी रेस्पॉन्सेज लिखे थे. आपने पूछा था डीमंस के एग्जाम्पल्स एंड few other comments. So we really appreciate your participation. And प्रभु जी, thank you for the wonderful class. आज हमें बहुत सारे टिप्स मिले हैं, how we should understand the demonic nature and finding solution for that. तो 2 क्वेश्चंस हैं एट दिस पॉइंट प्रभु जी, इफ यू हैव फ्यू मिनट्स. कौशल जी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा है, हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, हाउ कैन वी प्रीच अवर चिल्ड्रन अबाउट कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, स्पेशली टीनेजर्स, प्लीज गाइड. प्रभु जी, लेट मी पुट ऑन द माइक्रोफोन.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Kaushal ji. The most important thing teenagers want to see is like how we are engaging ourselves, because we may not know, but even for a young child, the radars are always up, and they see that yes, we are asking them to engage in devotional service, but if we are not happy in engaging ourselves, then of course it's not going to attract their attention. They should learn how these divine qualities invoke in us, how we become peaceful, how we become jubilant, how we are always happy when engaging in Krishna consciousness, how this is the solution to all kind of tribulations. So to be able to inspire them, we have to do it in a loving manner. We have to be very compassionate towards them, and very simply we should pray for them, and we should give them Krishna Prasad. Prasad means mercy, mercy of the Lord. And when one gets mercy of the Lord, automatically one gets purified. So by prayers, by loving exchanges, Dadati Pratigrahanati Guhyam Akhyati Prichati Bhunjate Bhujate Chaiva Sadvitam Priti Lakshana. So we want to engage in Priti Lakshana. What are the loving exchanges? The signs of loving exchanges are Dadati Pratigrahanati, giving of gifts and accepting gifts. Guhyam Akhyati Prichati, to discuss the confidential matters, to inquire about the confidential matters. Bhunjate bhojate chava, giving of prasad to others and then accepting prasad from others. We can have loving relationship enhanced with them, right? So we can enhance our loving relationship. And so when we give them prasadam, we engage them in devotional service, even agyat sukriti. So devotees, they are very intelligent. By engaging these children with various kind of engagements, various kind of household activities, especially जब हम लोग deities की सेवा कर रहे होते हैं, कभी बच्चों को बोल सकते हैं कि प्रसाद बनाना, वो भोगा के लिए ये सामग्री ले आओ मार्केट से, या इसमें हेल्प कर दो, थोड़ा deities वगैरह से रिलेटेड एक्टिविटीज़ में हेल्प कर दो. Can you read? You want to become a good reader of English? Let's read it together. These are good books of English. This is how actually Srila Prabhupada ने स्टार्टिंग में जब यहाँ पे आए थे यूएस में, तो उन्होंने क्या किया था, बहुत सारे लोग भगवद गीता श्रीमद् भागवतम से इतना अट्रैक्टेड नहीं थे. दे वांटेड टू लर्न संस्कृत. सो शिला प्रभुपाद ने उनको संस्कृत क्लास के लिए बुलाया. एंड हिज होलीनेस मुकुंद महाराज ही शेयर्स दिस इंसिडेंट कि पहला क्लास में जब बैठे तो उन्होंने क्या लिखा, एक श्लोका लिखा, ईश्वरः परमः कृष्णः सच्चिदानंद विग्रहः अनादिर आदिर गोविंदः सर्व कारण कारणम. उन्होंने ये संस्कृत श्लोका सबको मेमोराइज कराया पहले. अब उनको संस्कृत भी पता लगी, लेकिन in knowing Sanskrit they actually understood that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He has a body of eternity, knowledge and bliss, and he is the cause of all causes, right? So all these devotees are blessed because they follow the acharyas and they can enable anyone to become devotee, because what you have, that's only what you can give. So charity begins at home. When you will become, yourself practice it, the children will see how happy you are and they will automatically take to Krishna consciousness. Hopefully this answers the question. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा. कौशल जी, आपका क्वेश्चन बहुत ही अच्छा था एंड होपफुली जीव तत्व प्रभु जी का जो इंसाइटफुल रिस्पॉन्स है, दिस विल हेल्प many of us, many of the viewers to motivate the youth, the children, the teenagers also in Krishna Bhakti. Prabhuji, there is one more question.
Sure. Hare Krishna.
So Karuna Sindhu Prabhuji ne bola hai, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I understand we have to serve Krishna to overcome our demonic tendency. Lekin we don't remember this always. So what we can do?
Hare Krishna.
Let me put on a microphone.
The glories of Krishna consciousness, especially Bhakti Yoga, is that it's not a two-step process, it's a one-step process. Let me give you an example. So for example, you're holding on to, demoniac tendencies, right? But to give up demonic tendencies, all you have to do is get hold of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. So again, just by in contact with divine, automatically the demonic tendencies, they fall down, right? Anartha nivriti happens in the process. Adha shraddha tata sadhu sangha artha bhajana kriya anartha nivriti syat. Bhajana kriya, as soon as we engage in bhajana kriya, in devotional service, anartha nivriti automatically happens by that engagement. So it's a single step process. That's why Bhakti Yoga is also revealed as the easiest of all the yoga processes, yet it is the best. Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshvavagmam Dharmam Susukam Katum Avyayam. Lord Krishna is revealing in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? The king of all knowledge. He is saying this is Raj Vidya, it is the king of all knowledge. Raj Guhyam, it is the secret of all secrets. Pavitram, it is all purifying, and it is Uttama, it is the best. Pratyakshvavagmam Dharmam. And we can directly perceive it. We can see the change in our heart happening. We can see the change in our life happening. It is pratyaksha. We can perceive this transformation in our life, in our mind, in our body, in our words, right? Susukham kartum avyayam. And it is done joyfully. It is joyfully performed. So these are the wonderful qualities that Lord Krishna is revealing when we engage in devotional service. So you can imagine, swimming across the ocean, across the river is very difficult. What to talk about the ocean? But instead of swimming across the ocean, if we take the cruise ship, we can easily cross. Rather, it becomes a pleasurable journey across the ocean. That is the an analogy being used in the Shastras for devotional service. When we take to devotional service, it is like taking a cruise ship where everyone is engaged in Sankirtan Yajna. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. And to remember always, we should have to beg for the mercy of the Lord. We should take to the chanting of the holy name, and we should follow the regulative principles and the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master. So these are essentials for us to take to devotional service. Just like there is a process, right? So we have to follow the process. We cannot just say, oh, whimsically I can do it. Because Lord Krishna himself is giving this process in Bhagavad Gita. So if we don't follow the process and we want the results, that is not possible. We have to follow the process as he lays it down to make it easy for us to get this, benediction, Krishna Prasad. Hare Krishna, hopefully this answers the question.
Hare Krishna. So hopefully Karuna Sindhu Prabhu ji, you got your answer. आपका जो question था कि how to always remember this, that we can serve Krishna to overcome our demonic tendency because we forget it all the time. और प्रभु जी ने बताया, we take shelter of the Guru, we take shelter of the devotional service, and we chant, or hopefully this will help everyone. Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, we don't have any more questions.
Can we do SRIMADBHAGAVATAM? Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Hiraṇyākṣa Purvaksha Shilatam Karnakalaye
देव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण।